Hello guys, welcome to these sessions. In these sessions, we are covering our syllabus of system development, system designing, and concepts. So the main motive of this session is to complete our syllabus of this Bachelor of Computer Application. This subject is basically involved in the third year. So in the last sessions, we have covered two chapters of our first unit. So in today's session, we will be moving forward into our third chapter. Our third chapter is all about system development life cycle. What are the stages involved in system development life cycle? What are the different models which we have to keep in mind while developing a particular system, right? बहुत सारे मॉडल्स हमारे पास हैं जिसको जिसका हम यूज में ले सकते हैं हमारे कोई भी सिस्टम को डेवलप करने के लिए बेसिकली, राइट? तो इन सारे डिफरेंट डिफरेंट लाइफ साइकिल मॉडल्स को भी हम आगे चल के पढ़ेंगे। इसके अलावा ऑल those system development life cycle models which are mentioned in a particular topic in our book. There is another topic like what are other alternate development models? What are the other alternate development models which we can prefer over these models, right? So where there are actually various different kind of software development life cycle models which we have to consider in order to develop a particular system, right? So each model have its own pros and cons or advantages or disadvantages. So we will be discussing in future. I guess these all the topics are not be covered in the particular sessions because I have just written the main headings of these, right? So there is actually uh, further few topics in these main headings, right? So our last content or last main heading is software development methodology. So while we are discussing our session number or chapter number 2, which is the introduction to system, in that we I have said that there is a particular chapter. So this is that chapter in which we will be going to study about methodologies and all the models of a particular system development lifecycle. Of and so let's move to our first topic, like what is the meaning of system development lifecycle. So system development lifecycle basically, uh, system development life cycle is nothing but it involves various set of steps which we have to follow or which organization have to follow in order to make or in order to build a particular system on time or without any exceptions, right? So system development life cycle, what provides us, it provides a way. System development life cycle provides a way by which we can develop our system very effectively, right? So as I said that we have various stages of SDLC, right? So without system development life cycle, if a particular organization is not following the proper manner of system development life cycle, so in order to build a particular system, that organization might take a long time, or after taking that particular long time, that organization cannot guarantee that the system developed by them is a proper system, is a very good system, right? So system development, if a particular organization follows system development life cycle, then it will be very sure that the system which we are developing will be very good, right? So there are actually various system development life cycle models. So in those models, we will be discussing about the sequence. We will be discussing about the sequence of these steps, right? So first we will study a little bit about these steps. What are these steps? So after after understanding the meaning of these steps, then we will be putting these steps according to the models which we have in future, right? So first, in order to develop a particular system, first we have to decide. That whether it is necessary to develop that particular system, whether what kind of problem is solved by my system, or if there is any existing system in my organization. So system analyst will do the analysis on that system and will recognize all the problems or all the measure of changes in that particular existing system, so that the system analyst can come with the solution of that particular system. So in preliminary investigation, we or system analyst check whether the existing system needs some changes or whether there are any problems in the existing system. And if there are any problem in the existing system, we will be solving all those problems in the next step, right? So basically, if I conclude the preliminary investigation point, so in this point, basically, we in this point, basically, we monitor, basically, we analyze what are the problems in the existing system, or if there is not any existing system, we analyze that if our system is new, right? If our system is new, if there is only an idea of our system, so first we will analyze that what kind of problem will be solved by that particular idea, right? So in preliminary investigation, we do all these things. So our next step will be feasibility analysis. Now after determining the problem as well as the solution, right? After determining the problem as well as the solution, we have a clear vision that that particular objective we have to achieve, right? That particular changes we have to achieve. So feasibility studies basically require in order to check that whether our organization can achieve that goal with proper resources or not, right? With proper resources or not. So feasibility study basically needs to build a particular system to build a particular system with proper resources. So feasibility study basically involve these further types. So technical feasibility. In technical feasibility, we will check whether the new system can build using the existing technologies in our organization, or we have to adapt, or we have to hire employees who know other technologies also, right? So in technical feasibility, we will check that the changes which we have discussed in preliminary investigation, can those changes achieved by these technology which is currently exist in my organization, or I have to change my technology, or I have to hire some more employees who knows other technologies also, right? So first we will discuss that which kind of technology we will on which we will be building our particular product. After deciding the technology, if current technologies in the organization can solve those problems, it is fine, very fine. But if the current technology in our organization cannot be able to solve those problems which we have discussed in preliminary investigation, so we have to hire another employee in our particular organization, or system analyst it himself has to gain those particular technical skills, right? So in technical feasibility, we check these things. We check that whether the proposed system can be built on the current existing technology, or we have to make some changes in our organization. So our next type of feasibility is the next type of feasibility is basically the economic feasibility. Economic feasibility basically check check that whether the proposed system will give me profits in future or not. So basically in economic feasibility, what we do, we make analysis of cost and or benefits or long term benefits, right? Or we analyze these things like अगर मैं छोटा सा overview दूं तो just a second. अगर मैं छोटा सा ओवरव्यू दूं तो हम बेसिकली फीजिबिलिटी कॉस्ट बेनिफिट एनालिसिस करते कैसे हैं? हम एक टेबल बनाते हैं इन प्रैक्टिकली जब हम ये सारे स्टेप्स अचीव करते हैं, हम एक टेबल बनाते हैं बेसिकली, जिसके अंदर 2 कॉलम्स रहते हैं। थोड़ी सी ड्राइंग सही नहीं बन रही है, तो इसके अंदर हम क्या करते हैं, बेसिकली एक टेबल बनाते हैं जिसके अंदर हम लेफ्ट साइड में लिखते हैं कोस्ट, ऑल द कोस्ट, ठीक है। इसके अलावा हम इसके राइट साइड में क्या लिखते हैं, और लॉन्ग टर्म एंड शॉर्ट टर्म बेनिफिट्स, राइट। So we were discussing about our cost and benefit analysis, which is basically involved in this part, economic feasibility. So in economic feasibility, we basically do the cost benefit analysis by making a particular table. In that table, we basically list it down. On the left side, we list down all the cost which is required, all the cost which is occurring in our organization, and on the right side, we basically list down all the benefits, all the short-term benefits, all the long-term benefits. We basically list down on the right side, right? So after listing down all the long-term, all the operating costs, all the economic cost in the left side, and the right side all the benefits. So at last we will make a total. We will make a particular total in of both the sides. We make a particular total of both the sides, and after doing the total of both the sides, we will compare that is it is the cost which we are investing in our new system or in the proposed system is greater than the benefits which we will be getting in the long term or in the short term. So if it is like अगर मेरी cost ज़्यादा है मेरे benefit से, तो मैं क्या करूँगा, मेरा जो आइडिया है जो मैंने प्रिलिमिनरी इन्वेस्टिगेशन में डिसाइड करा था मेरा सॉल्यूशन, तो मेरे को उन सॉल्यूशन के अंदर कुछ चेंजेस करने होंगे, मेरे को दूसरा सॉल्यूशन अडॉप्ट करना होगा, एंड आफ्टर अडॉप्टिंग द अनदर सॉल्यूशन फिर मैं उसकी वापस से इकोनॉमिक फीजिबिलिटी करूंगा। अगर मेरी फर्स्ट टाइम के अंदर ही मेरी जितनी भी कॉस्ट है वो और जितनी भी बेनिफिट्स है उनसे कम आ जाती है, तो मैं वही सॉल्यूशन मेरा अडॉप्ट कर लूंगा, राइट। सो जैसे कि एक मैंने बताया था अभी कि अगर if the new system cannot be developed with the help of current existing technology, so उसके लिए मेरे को नए एम्प्लॉयज को हायर करना होगा, तो उसकी वो भी मेरी एक बेसिकली कॉस्ट मानी जाएगी। तो वो सारी कॉस्टिंग भी मैं यहाँ पर कॉस्ट बेनिफिट एनालिसिस के अंदर करूंगा, जिसको मैं CBA भी बोलता हूँ। ये हमारे पास में एक टॉपिक है छोटा सा, आने वाले टाइम में हम इसको भी डिस्कस करेंगे। एंड legal feasibility. So we have discussed these two feasibility, technical feasibility and economic feasibility. The now third feasibility is the legal feasibility. In legal feasibility, we check whether or proposed system in the uh, will work in the current environment, will work in the current market legally, like it is fulfilling all the government terms and conditions. It is not selling, or it is not providing those services which are listed down as legal service, which are listed down as legal service, or system must not deal in those products which is not legal in our particular country, right? So we will basically check that the current system or the new system is fulfilling this legal feasibility or not. Now our next feasibility, and the last feasibility, is the operational feasibility. So in this feasibility we will check whether the system will be used if it is developed, whether the system will be used if it is developed, कि क्या जब मैंने अपना जो नया सिस्टम है वो बना लिया है, इसके बाद में हम ये चेक करेंगे कि लाइक यहाँ पर अभी तक बेसिकली नहीं बनाया, अभी तक हम सेकंड स्टेप पर ही हैं, तो इस सेकंड स्टेप के अंदर ही हम ये डिसाइड कर लेंगे कि वेदर न्यू सिस्टम will be used by the will be used by the clients if it is developed. So in the operational feasibility, we will check whether the new system will be used or not. Whether the new system will be used or not. If it is डेवलप्ड, राइट. सो अगर हमने डेवलप कर ली कोई भी चीज, ऑपरेशनल फिजिबिलिटी बेसिकली सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है, ऑपरेशनल फिजिबिलिटी और इकोनॉमिक फिजिबिलिटी. ऑलराइट, सो इन दीज टू फिजिबिलिटी वी मेनली डिसाइड दैट whether we have to change my solution, or I can use that particular solution in future. So in these, with the help of these two feasibilities, economic feasibility and operational feasibility, हम ये decide करेंगे कि मेरा जो solution है वो particular problem को, जो वो problem को solve कर रहा था, कि जो मैंने solution को choose करा था, क्या वो solution in future use में आएगा या फिर नहीं आएगा. अगर नहीं आएगा तो हमें कोई दूसरा सॉल्यूशन चूज करना होगा, हमें कोई दूसरा सॉल्यूशन निकालना होगा उस प्रॉब्लम का. और हमें पता कैसे लगेगा कि जो आने वाले टाइम में हमारा जो सॉल्यूशन है वो यूज में आएगा या नहीं आएगा? विद द हेल्प ऑफ these feasibilities, with the help of these types of feasibility, right? So this is all about the feasibility study. Or now next step is the analysis, of work basically. So in this step, basically what we do, we ask questions that what is to be done in our new system, or second question, these are the some mostly asked questions in our basic working environment, so it can be changed, right? So these questions can be changed according to the system. So in our nature, in our regular working environment, we basically ask these questions. So what is to be done, कि हमें करना क्या है, बेसिकली कैसे करना है, हाउ इट विल बी डन, कौन करेगा उस बेसिकली पर्टिकुलर टास्क को, उस टास्क को करने के लिए कौन आएगा, हु विल परफॉर्म दैट वर्क, इफ दोज एम्प्लॉइज, इफ द करंट एम्प्लॉइज कैन डू द work, so they will do. Otherwise we have to hire some new employees, right? So these three questions. Does a problem exist in the current system also? Or after deciding the solution, in this we again analyze that in the current system, in the current solution which we find of that particular problem, if there is any problem exist in the solution also. So we will analyze all these problems in the current system. Agar hai, so what is the cause of problem, and what will be the solution, of that problem, right? So we ask basically these types of questions in the analysis of work step. Okay, so our fourth step will be the basically the logical design. We can say that logical design or conceptual view of our system. मैं इसके names mention कर देता हूँ. Conceptual view of our system or logical design, right? So we, in the fourth step, we basically decide what will be the logical design, what will be the flow of our system, what databases will be used in my system, what will be my program flow structure, how data flows from between the modules, right? So for example, अगर मैं अगर मेरे पास में एक बड़ा सा सिस्टम है, इसके अंदर मेरे पास में 4 मॉड्यूल्स हैं, इसके अंदर मेरे पास में 2 मॉड्यूल्स है फॉर एग्जांपल, राइट? तो किस तरीके से मेरा डेटा ट्रेवल कर रहा है, मेरे को डेटा पाइपलाइनिंग करनी होगी. इस चीज को मैं डेटा पाइपलाइनिंग बोलता हूँ बेसिकली, कि मेरा जो डेटा है किस तरीके से बिटवीन द मॉड्यूल्स ट्रेवल कर रहा है, मैं उस चीज को बोलता हूँ डेटा फ्लो डायग्राम. बेसिकली डेटा फ्लो डायग्राम. तो डेटा फ्लो डायग्राम में हम क्या बताते हैं कि मेरा जो डेटा है, मॉड्यूल 1 ने रॉ डेटा प्रोड्यूस करा, उस डेटा के ऊपर कुछ प्रोसेसिंग करी मॉड्यूल नंबर 1 ने, एंड देन फिर वो पास कर दिया मॉड्यूल नंबर 2 को. तो ये बेसिकली डेटा पाइपलाइनिंग है. हम डेटा पाइपलाइनिंग कैसे दिखाएंगे? विद द हेल्प ऑफ डीएफडीज. तो डेटा फ्लो डायग्राम के थ्रू हम ये सारी चीजें मेंशन कर देंगे. ऑलराइट, सो डेटा फ्लो डायग्राम्स आर बेसिकली यूज्ड in this designing step. The another one is program flow diagram. There is a difference between program flow diagram and a data flow diagram, right? The another tool which we will be going to use in conceptual view, or the conceptual or the design, or the conceptual design, right? So it is the entity relationship diagram. Entity relationship diagram is basically that tool by which we can design, by which we can design our database logical architecture. Right, so entity relationship diagram is basically a tool by which we can design our database logical architecture. जैसे कि हम यहाँ पर एक मॉड्यूल लिख रहे हैं, वैसे ही हम database entity relationship diagram के अंदर क्या रखेंगे, multiple tables. What will be the relationship between table, whether it is one-to-one relationship, whether there is one-to-one relationship or there is one-to-many relationships or many-to-many relationship, whether this particular entity is a weak entity set or whether it is a strong entity set, whether there is the existence of particular whether there is the existence of primary key attribute. We will be discussing all those things, right? So what is the meaning of attributes? What are the different types of attributes? All right, so what is the relationships? What is aggregation? What is generalization? So we will be discussing in our second unit, because second unit we have the particular dedicated chapter of data flow diagram and flow diagrams and entity relationship diagram, data modeling, which we see basically. So after this, after the fourth step, after designing the conceptual view of our solution, so let me revise that. We have discussed the preliminary investigation. In this preliminary investigation, we basically decide what is the problem in the current existing system by and what will be the solution of that particular problem, right? And in the second step, we basically decide that what will be the cost, what are the resources, what will be the cost, and what will be the future plans of my current solution. In the analysis of work, we basically ask some questions. Uh, which will make our vision clear, right? Which will make our vision clear and which will basically divides our work very efficiently. All right, divides our work very efficiently with the help of asking this question: who will perform that work? Right. So in the fourth we have discussed currently. So in the fourth step, we basically design the logical view of our system. So these are the tools which we have discussed so far, but not in detail because we have a dedicated chapter on this. Our next step will be the implementation and coding. So after designing the data flow diagrams, after designing the program flow diagrams, after designing the entity relationship diagram, we will pass these diagrams to the coder. Now there is particular, I haven't mentioned that thing. So how we will pass these designs to the developer, so basically there is a document called design document. There is a document called a design document. In design document, we basically write, or we basically design all these diagrams after finalizing the design, right? After finalizing the design, we basically write all these designs into the design document, and design document will be forwarded to the developer so that he can take a reference of those design document, that what our new system should look like. So after passing the design document to the developer, he will implement it actually with the help of the technologies which we have decided in the technical feasibility. So developer will implement all those designs practically, right? After designing all those designs, after implementing all those designs, what is the next step? Next step is to test whether the application developed by that particular developer is will work fine or not, whether there are any bugs in that particular system or not, right? So in this testing, we basically provide several test cases to our system which is developed by the developer, right? So if there is not any exceptions, we will be following our next step, which is maintenance, right? So in maintenance, what we do, we basically uh, in maintenance, the main work of the maintenance is maintenance staff. The main work of the maintenance staff is to provide guidelines to our client, or is to provide or is to provide the efficiency of the build system, is to provide efficienciness to our build system, right? Or if there is any test cases, if there is any exception in the testing phase, we will forward or developed system again to the developer. Or if there is not any testing, we will forward it to the maintenance staff so that they can make further improvements in our system, right? So we have less than 1 minute left in our meeting. So let me just show you a particular diagram. So this is basically the diagram of system development life cycle. So first we preliminary investigate, then we analyze, then we design, then we implement that particular thing, then we test and integrate. What is the meaning of integrate? We